Hey everyone, welcome back to a brand new tier list video. I made this tier list to make up for the fact that the collectors felt a little left out to dry for when I did the mechanics tier list. If you didn't see the TCG mechanics tier list and you'd love to, go check that out. It's on my channel. I ranked every single TCG mechanic. In this tier list, we're going to be ranking the rarities. Rarities is going to be talking about like the pulls you get and like the different rarities that are not just like holo rare and stuff like that, but I will clarify that to be a rarity, it has to come from a pack, so I didn't include cards like V-Unions that are only promos, XY Premium Tournament Collection promos, Generations promos. Like, these are popular cards, but they're not rarities because they can't be pulled from packs. So as you can see, we have a lot to rank. We're going to go through these faster than mechanics because I don't have as much to talk about when it comes to rarity. I'm a collector second, player first nowadays. However, obviously this is going to be very biased towards my personal experience, nostalgia, and all of that. So yeah, let's get right into it. Again, this is not going to be mechanics, competitive, anything like that. If you love like seeing what kind of cards I like that are good in the game, then go check out the mechanic tier list. First going in, we got Crystal type Pokemon. I'm not a huge fan of the Crystal type cards just because they're all colorless, but they are really pretty. And Celebi has been on my personal list, Crystal Celebi, to own for a long time, and I sadly don't own it yet. It was my goal to buy it last year, however, things kind of went awry in the middle of the year. So we're going to go ahead and put it in A tier, Crystal type as a whole. I don't think I'd ever own all of the Crystal type cards or try to chase them, however, there is one or two that I'd like to own, mainly Celebi. The Lugia and Ho are also really nice cards. Next up we have Gold Special Energy. Sorry, the order is kind of random. The tier maker just does what it wants with this and I don't get to choose. We have the Gold Special Energy from Sun and Moon. So you can kind of see I can divide these up by eras because the way they treat different cards in eras, the way they're textured is differently. Now, Gold Special Energy in Sun and Moon specifically does actually have technically two different textures because in the year 2019 they swapped the texture to be much lighter than previously. So you don't kind of get that like embossed feeling on the old cards from 2018 and prior. Personally, I prefer that like very textured feeling and look because it's unique. If we're not going to be the Japanese cards in texture, we might as well be our own thing instead of just a worse version of the Japanese cards. So it does hurt a little bit, like they otherwise would be a little bit higher. I'm going to put them in C. I'm not a huge gold card fan though, but they are gold cards that I will tolerate when I will collect. Gold Energy from Sword and Shield though, I have like no interest in any of the ones they've printed. Particularly like, when Twin came out, Double Turbo came out, I didn't buy them, whereas when like Double Colorless came out and this Rainbow came out, they're like more appealing cards to me. Next up we have some Secret Rare right here from Harkle Silver. It's just a one of, and I do have a few one of Secret Rares, but I figured they're worth mention. Any kind of Secret Rare rarity is worth doing. This Gyarados in specific, nothing too much to say about it. It's just a C tier. It's not a particularly great looking card, honestly. I prefer the Gyarados in the set that's drawn by Mitsuhiro Arita. I'm going to skip around the full art supporters because we'll get back to those because I have a little bit more to say about the full art supporters in specific. Next up we have the GXs. Regular GXs were a pretty okay mechanic. Again, you're going to probably see, or not mechanic, rarity. You're going to see a lot of like kind of like mid-tier ratings for just it's kind of cool to pull. GXs aren't like my favorite thing in the world, but I do like them. As a player, I like them more than I do as a collector, though. So we're going to put them in B. GX Full Art's just about the same feeling. I don't love the solid color background with some of the types, because like Dragon, for instance, is just not very interesting. However, the solid color does actually work really well for a few of the types. Mainly, if you ask me, Dark and Grass and try to think Fire, those ones work pretty well with the solid type background. Again, it's also just that Japanese cards have way better texturing than we did, so it looked really good in Japanese, even if ours kind of looked lackluster. Next up we have the GX Secret Rare from Shining Legends. Just this one GX, and it is a great looking card, so we're just going to put it here. Some people count it as an alternate art. I don't really see it as that, so I put it as a separate category. If you consider it an alternate art, then you consider it an alternate art, right? But we do have a separate category for alternate arts. We have Rainbow Rares here, GX Rainbow Rare. I hate Rainbow Rares. When Rainbow Rares first started, I was like kind of okay with them, right? Like I had a few Rainbow Rares and I didn't hate them, though I did sell like I'd only pulled like 2 rainbow rares. I went like 400 packs before I pulled another one, and by that point, by the time I'd pulled my next rainbow rare, I didn't want rainbow rares anymore, because the idea had just worn off. So yeah, I just hate rainbow rares. You're gonna notice that over this entire tier list. I'm trying to look for the other GX. Oh yeah, there it is. We have. Well, I'm trying to look for alternate art too, but oh yeah, that's right. They don't have alternate art. It's true. So shiny GX, rainbow rares down there. Shiny GX, we're gonna put all the way up. Yeah, we're gonna give A tier. I really like the shiny GXs. Not all of them are better than the regular forms, but the white background is really cool. I like it more than the solid color backgrounds, to be honest. There's a few that I think I would like better in full art form, but the vast majority I like in the shiny form. Hidden Fates was a really good set, so yeah. Also, you'll notice that I did say there wasn't rarities, and we do use a Charizard GX as an example. It's not talking about Charizard GX in specific, it's just GX full arts as a rarity. As I was just using the Charizard line for this specific thing. I tried to be more collector, more collector-sided with these kind of example images. Next up, we have the Tag Team GXs. Tag Team GXs for collectability. Honestly, better than the GXs. They all have really good artwork, so I'm going to put them in A. The Tag Team GX regular arts are all drawn by Mitsuhiro Arita, and they're really, really good looking. So no matter how much I despise them in the game, they are really pretty cards. Full art tag teams, though, these suck. They are, I know you say, what, you have GX full art and then Tag Team GX full art down here. The way that the GX full arts work is just that they get a better shot of the Pokemon, and they're not like, because the GXs have regular like art that's like not the best either, it's like not a specific downgrade, whereas this feels like such a downgrade from the regular and the special art. Same with the Rainbow Rare, just awful cards. Rainbow Rare tag teams are some of the worst cards ever printed. And then alternate art tag teams are really good, but I don't think alternate art tag teams hit their stride yet. There's 1 or 2 that I really like, but they're not S tier quality yet. Alternate arts would get better though as time went on. I do think the first lot of alternate arts though isn't the best alternate art that we would see in the game. I suppose we'll move on next to Vs. We have regular Vs. These are definitely worse as a collector than GXs are. The foiling on them feels super, super cheap in English. It looks fine in Japanese, but in English it is unbelievably cheap. And the art is like less appealing than the GXs somehow, which is odd because they're, again, just all CG, but somehow the Vs are even worse for artwork wise, even though they're all just CG, right? So I'm going to put them in D. They're just not exciting to collect at all. The V full arts are a little bit better. I'm going to put them in B tier. There's a few V full arts that I actually quite like. Snorlax V full art is one that I have in my binder. Alcremie V full art is my favorite one. Alcremie by itself would be like S tier, but like with the rest of the V full arts, I do have to be a bit real on that they're a little bit worse. Next up, we have the V alternate arts, and this is the first one we're going to have an S tier. V alternate arts from the Sword and Shield era have just really made great collector's items if you are a collector. I personally really love cards like Celebi V alternate art, Superior V, that's a different one, sorry, Superior V is not an alternate art, Golurk V alternate art, even this Umbreon. I don't like Umbreon, but it's a T0 artwork and it's really nice looking, so V alternate arts definitely have a thing. Trainer Gallery V, this is Superior's category. We're going to again put this at S tier, just absolutely great cards for collectors, and really just a home run. Just the artwork was really led to do. And the fact that I love the lore of the Pokemon games. I play all the Pokemon games. Well, besides I played Sword and Shield once, and I haven't played Scarlet Violet yet. I'm not a big fan of those. I wasn't a big fan of Sword and Shield at all, so I wasn't incentivized to play Scarlet Violet, right? Besides those, you get to see like the characters with their Pokemon, which for me, as someone who plays the games, who cares about the characters, that's really big for me. So I quite like those. And then we also have the V Galarian Gallery. Again, we're just going to throw it up there. They're just wonderful cards. I don't think there's as many good I don't think there's as many good Galarian Galleries as there are alternate arts, but there's still ones in there that are so nice that I'd want to own. But unfortunately, I am poor, so I don't own just about any of them, unfortunately. I did order the Regigigas V-Star Galarian Gallery, though. That I'm looking forward to. And yeah, I did put that over here. I was wondering, did I put that over here? I sure did. Next up, we'll do the VMAXs and VMAX regulars. I know I put a good example here because Umbreon VMAX is one of the better looking VMAX cards. But VMAXs as a whole are just extremely hideous cards. I think to like Duraludon VMAX, Rayquaza VMAX, Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX, Urshi's Foos VMAX, like all of these cards are hideously ugly. You get a few in between like Blaziken and Umbreon and Tornadus that are illustrated, but I don't know who is a designer that decided that, hey, if we just put a big Pokemon in front of a bunch of like vomit of special effects, it'll be good. I promise. They were lying because special effects vomit does not look good. VMAX Rainbow Rares, same thing. Rainbows are awful. Rip Bozo, not sad to see him go. Goodbye. VMAX Alternate Arts. Honestly, I don't like the VMAX Alternate Arts as much as the V Alternate Arts, so we're gonna put them in A. I think the V Alternate Arts do a lot better. I think forcing the Pokemon to be big in the artwork definitely pigeonholes the amount of nice looking cards you can get. You get some good ones like Urshifu, that would definitely be S, but then you get some bad ones. I don't like the Umbreon, I don't like the Rayquaza, where the Rayquaza V and Umbreon V would look much better, for instance. Next up we have VMAX Trainer Gallery. These have about the same feelings of, this is actually a perfect example right here, that the Umbreon is so much better than the Umbreon VMAX Trainer Gallery, just because you just get such a better picture when you don't have to force the Pokemon to be big. It doesn't really fit with the lore of the series. Why is the Umbreon, Dynamax next to Karen? Why does she have a Dynamax Umbreon? I don't know. It's just there, I guess. Next up we have the Galarian Gallery, though, and these ones I'm going to give... oh, that does a V-Star. We'll wait on V-Star, sorry. I thought that was Galarian Gallery. VMAX. That is not. V-Star regular, these are actually great. I'm going to put these in A. If you've seen an IRL V-Star before, like I don't love the V-Star as a mechanic, but if you've seen an IRL V-Star before, they really pop. They're some of the best looking cards I think that we've had in a long time. They're just really beautiful to hold, the silver borders and all that. I really like them, so. But unfortunately the Rainbow Rares are bad. The gold cards are just whatever. I mean, I guess I'd be excited to pull those, but yeah. Galarian Gallery, you saw me put it up in S before. It stays in S. Those artworks, like the Zoroark, the Regigigas, those are some of the best artworks we've seen in the entire Pokemon TCG, and absolutely deserve S. They're just so awesome, and they're going to be pretty affordable too because of their high pull rates, which is perfect, which is what we need. This is like how it should be. High pull rates, low set sizes. I like that. Next up we have the 4 gold cards from V-Star Universe, and over here Crown Zenith. Yep, S tier. These are wonderful cards. Akira Egawa did a just incredible job on them. Yeah, I like them. They're really nice. I'll probably never own any, but yep. We do have V and VMAX here that I forgot to do. So V Shiny Vault. These were significantly worse than the GXs. There was worse selection of them. There wasn't that many good Vs. We were still in the worst era of the Sword and Shield era. The year 1 of Sword and Shield was probably the worst time for the TCG in the history, both playability and collectability. Probably the worst time ever. So these just have a lot less value to me, and same with the VMAXs. They're not, I can't put them on the same tier as Rainbow Rares, but they're really, really bad. Potentially even like bottom D tier, even E tier, because of how bad they are. Next up, I suppose, we've bored ourselves with all the Vs, right? Still have a bunch to go. We'll do the Full Art Trainers now. Full Art Trainers, here we go. Full Art Trainer from Black and White is first. These are going to go in A tier. Some of the Black and White Full Art Trainers are some of my absolute favorites. Maybe I should put it in S. I'm looking, yeah, it belongs in S. Alright, we'll give it S. Juniper, Getsus, N, Colress. These are some of my favorite Full Art Trainers ever. Some of the artwork is pretty simple, but it works really well. Really collectible. I own all of them, actually, which is really cool. So all the Black and White Full Art Trainers are mine, and they are beautiful, and I love them. We have XY here somewhere. Yep, at the very bottom. Again, the order got randomized a little bit. Full Art Trainers from the XY, I'm going to give them A tier. I think they're a step down. We got some really good ones, like the Giovanni Scheme that's shown here. Bridget Full Art's really good, but we also had a lot of bad ones. Professor Birch is really boring. the fossil researcher, Zerosic. Just not a lot of them are like really worth a collector's time, in my opinion, unless your favorite character is Zerosic. You put on some clown makeup in the morning, you know, and he's your idol. I'm just not a big fan of the choices they did for the full art supporters. A lot of like Kalos characters, which Kalos are definitely is a low point story wise, so I'm not as connected to the characters in that game. So like when you make you know, you get some good ones like Sycamore and Karina, but you get a lot of stinkers out of that, so it definitely goes down a little bit. We have Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon, again, S tier. They did a great job with the full art supporters, really bouncing them back. This is really when the concept of waifu cards kind of took off in Japan, and later on over here. Lizzie is the example I use for that. That's not one of my favorites, to be honest. I could care less, but like, you know, we had Rosa full art, we have the Lily, we have Kukui was one of my favorites that I pulled early on. You had, I'm trying to think of other ones from the Sun and Moon era. Kiawe is a really good one. The Lucamines, Guzma from the Burning Shadows is a really, really nice one. They just really stepped up their A game on the full art supporters. Next up, we have Sword and Shield. What do I give it? It's really tough. I think we're going to give it S tier. I was really tempted to give it A. It's hard to give it A, though, when Caitlin's on the front. And Caitlin is my second favorite full art trainer of all time. Possibly my favorite, depending on how time ages. Just one of the best looking full art trainers, and they really brought their A game with all of the new illustrators taking on jobs like En Murikura, who just does full art trainers, is like, they're doing a great job. Sanosuke Sakuma is doing a great job. Just lots of stuff to look forward to on these full art supporters, but I will say it is a downgrade in one specific aspect, and that's that all the full art trainers require them to have backgrounds. So we actually got a lot of stinkers early on. Again, Sword and Shield are like not my favorite games ever, so like I don't love the gym leader ones. I don't love the Kara Liss was her name. There was a lot of ones, especially year one. Again, year one, probably the worst year of the TCG ever. There was a lot of really bad full art supporters. And again, they require them to have an actual like background. They can't just have these color backgrounds, which I really like these color backgrounds, especially the examples I used here. They require them to have a illustrated background with relevance. So next up we have the Galarian Gallery ones. These ones are pretty good, but they definitely fall a little bit short. We're going to put them in A. None of them are like bad, but you just have some that are like not that good. Single Strike Mustard is really, really bad. I don't like that one. I do like Rapid Strike Mustard though. Gloria's nice. Acerola's like okay. Those are the first ones that come to mind. I don't at all like the gym leader ones. They're just worse than their regular prints, and even their regular prints are like not that good. Yeah, that's alright. I think the Gordy gym leader one is actually quite good from Astral Radiance. And past that, you get like Swordward, Shieldbert. No, that's a bad one. Let's see, is there any ones? I want to get to some of the cooler ones a little bit later, so let's just knock out some of the weaker ones, I suppose. Rainbow Rare Supporters, good transition. Rainbow Rare Supporters is, in fact, the worst decision the game has ever done. I'm sorry that there's a Caitlin here. I hope she will forgive me for putting her in the bottom tier, but we're going to make a Z tier here for Rainbow Rare Supporters. They are the worst looking cards ever. Why would you take a beautiful full art and take away all of its color? I mean, that's the whole concept of the Rainbow Rare, but why give it to supporters? I don't know. The price showed, if you look at Japanese cards, you'd see like a $300 full art supporter, and you'd see like a $10 Rainbow Rare version of that supporter. Why? Because Rainbow Rares suck. Nobody likes them anymore, except for Hot Chalk PTCG. He's quite a big fan. So yeah, Rip Bozo Rainbow Rares, we will not miss you. We're so glad to have the new special art like trainers that we're getting in Scarlet Violet. Yep, that's gonna be so much better, though it's gonna be very expensive. Full art supporter, Galarian Gallery. Yep, there we go. I did remember that we had that one as well. Those ones are S tier. The Galarian Gallery just came out with Crown Zenith. So like the Gardenia though, the Charon, especially Charon's my favorite one. Cynthia's Aspiration. There is the Roxanne, who is drawn by a character designer for a few anime that I've watched. Just a lot of really, really good cards. Just incredible. I honestly don't really like this Melanie one there that much, but that's just my personal taste. I know people do love it, so it's worth respecting at the very least. Oh, we missed some V ones down here. We'll knock those out real quick. V golds. There is like Zacian, Zamazenta, and then later on we got the 3 birds. They're the same tier as V's. I don't really want them, but I don't hate them either. And then we have V black and gold. I think these are actually better. And same with the V Max black and gold. I actually don't hate these, especially because they're like not that rare. So if you're opening up a year 3 Sword and Shield pack, you can just randomly stumble upon a good V Max from year 2, which is kind of cool. Obviously, Eternatus is like not a prime example of that, I guess, because it's from the Shining Fate set, and I was talking about year 3, but as a whole, we'll just give them C tier. I kind of like actually pulling like a Mew V Max black and gold. I was kind of excited because I could put that in a deck. And if you like Mew V Max, there you go. That's a cooler version than the Special Effects Vomit and Rainbow Vomit versions of it. Next up, we have Gold Pokemon. We'll do those from Sword and Shield. These are F. I hate these. They look awful, and they never should have been made. Just a CGI shiny Pokemon standing in front of the gold background. I'm not a big fan of the gold background, so it doesn't really help when it's put an ugly CGI Pokemon that's shiny there. Could have just made the shiny Pokemon an actual card, right? Next up, we have... Did we knock GXs out of the way? We did, but we did forget GX Golds. GX Golds are a little bit better. I do like the solid color theme of them more, so we'll put them up in C tier with the black and golds. The solid color golds are a little bit more my thing than the black and gold. Let's see, let's knock out some of the gold ones here. Gold item, Sword and Shield. These are like not the worst. I'll give them D tier, but I don't like them. This is when I started to dislike golden items. Sun and Moon are definitely the worst ones though. They just don't look good at all. But gold items, the ones I do like, we have gold items from X and Y, which will go in S tier. They're great. I guess this is more of a player thing too, that I love gold items, but there should be gold items black and white here too. Yep, here we go. Gold items from black and white, also S tier. I used a bad example here because this is the only one that doesn't have a golden border, but they all have the golden borders besides this one. Just fantastic cards. They look great. So if you're like a player and a collector, you definitely love these gold items. I'm not a big fan of these ones though. Gold stadiums from Sun and Moon. I actually like gold stadiums a bit. I thought they were a cool inclusion, but Sun and Moon ones are kind of ugly, so we're going to put them in C tier. And the Sword and Shield ones are a little bit better. We'll just put them in C tier still, but I think they're better. I just don't think they're up in this tier. I suppose we'll do EXs from Ruby and Sapphire next. Why not? We'll do a bunch of EX ones. So the EX Ruby Sapphire EXs, they're kind of ugly, I'm not going to lie. They're all CG, and they don't look good. However, they were really cool when I was like 8 years old and I didn't care about artwork on the cards. They did look pretty cool. So I'll give them credit for that. We'll put them in B tier. Kind of just in the middle, but I do enjoy them. Next up, we have EXs from Black and White. Again, we'll give it a B tier. I think the illustrations are much better, especially the Shizuru drawn EXs like Mewtwo, Darkrai, this Raikou here look really, really good. XY, I think they're actually worse than the black and white ones. And the reason I think this is because, first of all, there's a lot more of them, and there's a lot worse choices, and there's a lot more 5-band graphics drawn EXs. 5-band graphics did a lot of full arts in black and white, and they actually looked pretty good for full arts, but they kind of, X and Y is where they started to hit their real downstride and make really ugly cards for the rest of their existence until today, where they still make the ugliest cards in the game. Yeah, 5-band graphics sucks. The EXs just don't look as good in the X and Y era, and they have a lot of unfavorable Pokemon that I don't like being picked as EXs, where black and white, besides 2 EXs, all of the black and white ones were legendary Pokemon, so you're usually getting some really cool looking Pokemon on there. A lot more misses coming out of the X and Y era. Next up, we have Mega EX. These ones are actually pretty cool. I like the lettering on there. It makes it a little bit unique, if nothing else. We'll put it in the B tier. Then we have EX Full Art from Black and White. These are going to go in A tier. I was going to put them in S tier, but like they're not standing up to the artwork of these cards. But for CG cards, they look really, really good. I have a few that I quite like. You know, Genesect would be put up here. You know, Latias would be put up here, but most of them are about A tier. Next up, we have the XY era full arts. They're going to go in B tier. Again, the worst Pokemon choices really hurts them. Things like Camerupt DX. Camerupt's an okay Pokemon, but it's not positioned well in the EX card. It's a really ugly EX. So they just kind of missed the train there. We have the Mega EX Secrets here. We'll do these next. These were from the first few X and Y sets, and they were not very popular, so they eventually got rid of them. The only one that really sparked any interest are the Charizards, because they are Charizards. But the cards themselves, they replace just the borders, the text, and a text box with gold from the regular Mega EXs. In reality, it's like a B tier, because it's just a Mega EX, but I'm going to give it F tier because it's such a lazy Secret Rare. Probably the laziest card design we've ever seen for a Secret Rare. Just abysmal. Then we have the Mega EX Full Arts. These ones are pretty good. We'll put them in B tier as well. They look pretty good. This one's my favorite, but the rest of them are okay, and some of them are not good. So I think this is a good middle ground to put them in B tier. XY Era Secrets, these will go up in A tier. A lot of people put these up in S tier, but truthfully, the one that I really like is Gardevoir, and then the rest of them are just kind of okay. I'm not the biggest Mitsuhiro Arita simp. He does some really good illustrations, but some of his other illustrations, I'm not a big fan of the fact they had like multiple Pokemon on, because some of them feel a little cluttered, like the Gyarados, where the Greninja's just surfing in front of it for like no reason. It doesn't really make sense. It feels like it was just like pasted on there with glue on top of the painting, right? Like sticking the banana to the wall kind of thing. Doesn't feel like it should be there. So yeah, these are pretty cool, good artwork, but a little bit cluttered. Can't give them S tier. We'll do Radiance next. Radiance are definitely like the pretty low, because their artwork is just so bad. I don't know why for the Radiance they decided that they're all going to have bad artwork, but they did. So we have to live with it. So they decided that all the Radiants are going to have really goofy, cartoony artwork, which is fine, but like they're not cool cardstone. And if you're going to hire artists, at least just let them do their thing instead of making it cartoony. The only one I do like is Venusaur, but they all have like really bland backgrounds. The only one I like art-wise is Venusaur. Otherwise, I do like Steelix and Jirachi as like cards in the game, but we're not talking about playability here. So yeah, this one's the worst example of it. Radiant Charizard, this is one of the ugliest cards I've ever seen. Shinomori Nageshi is right up there with 5-pen graphics for doing the worst for the TCG. Next up we have Prism Stars. These cards I absolutely loved collecting. I'm going to put them in S tier. I love them as a mechanic in the game, but I also loved collecting them because they're really cool. The black border looks really nice with them, and then the Prism Star mark in the middle that shines looks really cool. So for a like subset hit, they're pretty good. We have Amazing Rares. These are pretty cool. I'll put them in A tier. Mechanically, they're like awful, but like as a collecting item, I thought it was pretty cool. I'm still really salty that they made Celebi into a 5-band graphics art for Amazing Rare Celebi instead of giving it to an actual artist out there, but unfortunately it's what we got. So Celebi is one of the worst looking Amazing Rares. Same with Rayquaza, one of the worst looking ones, whereas cards like Raikou, Yveltal, Zamazenta, well, Zamazenta's not that good. Raikou, Yveltal, Zacian, and what's the other one I'm thinking? Reshiram got like really cool artworks. Jirachi is also really nice. Poor Celebi though got put with 5-band graphics. A fate worse than death. We'll do the ARs next. As a collector piece, as a kid, I absolutely love this. This is some personal bias going in here, but when I was a kid, I tried to complete Arceus as a set. I got about 3 cards away from finishing as a kid, never ended up doing it, so I ended up getting rid of the stuff over time. But believe it or not, as a kid you could actually finish sets back in the day. This is like a reality that is no longer a thing for children nowadays, unfortunately, because sets are like 600 cards with 45 secret rares at minimum. So yeah, back then I actually tried to finish the set, and those were awesome. So absolutely love those. They're pretty common from packs. They were even in theme decks. There was Fire and Lightning Arceus are the cheapest ones because they're in theme decks. Next up we have the Rotoms. I'm a little bit biased here too. I'm a big fan of these Rotoms. The Cracked Ice Hollow pattern on the reverse is pretty cool. There's only like a few cards other than the Rotoms that do that in the whole history of the TCG. A few like blister promos that do it. And I like Rotom, so I have a whole binder page based on it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Next up, We'll do the Radiant Collection ones, because we got to the EXs already, so we'll do the Radiant Collection cards. The XY Common Radiant Collections, there's nothing like that special about them either way, but they had to be stuck here. They have like these little bracelets on here, and then some really nice artwork. I suppose it does have good artwork, so we'll put it up in B. Black and white ones are a little bit worse, though. They don't have as good of artwork, and the pattern on them is just like a star overlay. I'm not a big fan of that. XY reverses, these are about B. There's some reverse Radiant Collection. When I'm talking about that, I'm talking about like the ones that have actual effects on the card. The X and Y is definitely a downgrade from the black and white, because the black and white had the Gardevoir and the Eevee and the Piplup and the Pikachu that are all like better than any of the ones in the Radiant Collection of XY. So we'll put those up in A, the black and white ones. The EX is from the Radiant Collection. There is Gardevoir, Flareon. Those are all really good, and the Mega EXs are also really good. But there's only, I believe, Mega Gardevoir, so that's a little bit funny that I'm even making it a tier, but that it is. Character rares from the Trainer Gallery of 2022. We're going to put these all the way up in S tier. I love character rares. It sucks that they unfortunately got yellow borders in the transition to English, but character rares are just some of the best cards ever released. Really let artists express their style. Well, for someone like me, I get to see really cool Pokemon with really cool trainers. I'm sad to see them go. The art rares are cool, but not as cool. Next up, we will do A-Specs. As a kid, I gathered a bunch of these. They're cool to collect, but they're not, like, amazing, so we'll put them in B tier. Yeah, that's about fine. They're also really difficult to collect because at the time, Computer Search was like a $60 card back then, so scary, money hard. Next up, we have the EX Silver. This is just the Dialga from Phantom Forces, the only one in this rarity, but this is just an absolute collector dream. I know it's like CG, it's not like that cool, but like the silver card, man, that's such a cool idea. I wish they did it more. The black and white gold cards are all similarly pretty cool. I chased these when I was younger. I pulled 2 Zekroms. Never pulled a Reshiram, unfortunately, but I did buy one. It looks horrible condition-wise, but it is still quite cool. You can hardly even see them because the gold cards are like very gold. There's no other colors like there were with the Sun and Moon ones. We have the Celebrations reprint. These go in S tier. I love this. I hope they do more reprints. I hope we get a reprint set every 5 years and they explore even more cards next time that aren't just Gen 1, because they wasted, like, I know Gen 1 is big, but like Imposter Professor Oak did not need to be in that set. Here Comes Team Rocket did not need to be in that set. You know, there was definitely some extras there that could have been swapped out for more reprints. I'd love to see reprints of uncommons too, but I doubt they'll ever do that. I'd love to see reprints of, you know, cards like Holland Transceiver, Roseanne's Research, Pokemon Collector, stuff that makes the retro competitive scene more accessible for newer players. These cards are noteworthy. You know, these uncommon cards that you know, collectors usually may pass over are valuable to us. As a player and as a collector, Celebration reprints are just home run. My only criticism is that they look worse than the Japanese ones, because of course they do. Next up, we have the Shinings from Shining Legends. I'm not a big fan of these. I'm going to give them C tier. They had the goofy art gimmick thing going on again, where like none of them have cool looking artworks like the Radiants did. So the only one I ever really chased is Shining Genesect, and the rest of them I didn't care about. Shining Celebi's cool, but the promo card, so I never had to chase it. I just bought it, and you know, you have like 2 out of like 10 that I actually care about, so the rest I don't care about at all. We have character rares from Sun and Moon. We're gonna put those up in S tier, right? They're character rares. Character rares in Sun and Moon didn't have as high of highs because this Dredagon is my favorite character rare of all time. But the Coughing is still really good. The Wishy-Washy is really, really good. There's some like bad ones though. I don't love the Gallade. Pikachu's not my favorite. Yeah, but like the rest of them, like the Clay Excadrill, that one's really, really good. Wishy-Washy, Coughing, Excadrill, those are the ones that come to mind as like my favorite ones. The Piplup's okay. Torkoal's like okay. Those are the ones I can remember right now. Next up, we will do Legends. As a kid, this was just a home run. These are like some of the coolest cards to collect as a kid. 2-piece Legend, if you're able to get the whole thing, it makes some of the coolest looking cards of all time. The artwork on these cards is just either like really weird or like insanely cool looking, so it just depends on your opinion, I suppose. Next up, we have level X's. We'll do that since we just hit Legends. As a kid, I love level X's. I still do. You know, I'm not shy about that. They're in my mechanic tier. They were S tier too. But just level X's are very cool looking cards. The Diamond and Pearl Hollow Foil is just really great. Silver, shiny borders. And the artwork on them, while not amazing, was still alright. And you get some really nice looking ones. They were also my first ultra rares, so I'm a little biased there. Next up, we have breaks. As a game mechanic, they're pretty good for the game. You know, I enjoyed the breaks that are playable, though they are not many. But as a collector, they are just absolutely abysmal. Some of the ugliest cards of the modern era. They are so ugly, and almost all of them were under $1. Like after a week after release, you'd see them after under $1 because they're just not good. Next up, we have Shining Pokemon. We'll do those next. What's with Pokemon and doing goofy artwork for shiny Pokemon? I just realized it's kind of like a trend, huh? We'll put them in B. I don't like them any. The only one I like is Shining Celebi. The rest I don't care about in the slightest. Again, they got really goofy artwork on the shiny Pokemon. I don't know why they keep doing this. I guess I've just realized that this is a trend that they like giving goofy artwork to the shiny Pokemon and making them look silly and cartoony, but I don't need every card to be badass, but I'd like some cool, just let the artist do what they want instead of making them all Looney Tunes looking. So that would be better. We have a few left. We have one more Mega EX I forgot to take care of. These Mega EXs are from Ancient Origins. These are just great cards. Definitely better than the Mega EXs found here. And they're just black and gold, so they look really cool. Cool collector pieces. Primes, I was way less excited when these came out as a kid, honestly, than level X's. Even now, I don't collect primes. They are cool to play with. I don't collect them though, so we'll just put them in B tier. They're okay, but I was not that excited by them as a kid. They look cooler as an adult, honestly, because I have nostalgia for them. EXs from the Black and White Radiant collection. I forgot to do those. Those ones are great. A tier, you have Shaman and Mew. And I believe that's it, but they're there and they're cool. So full art from XY Generations. You have one or two of these other than Pikachu. We're just going to put those in A tier. They're really nice. And full arts from the Black and White Radiant collection are just going to go in S tier. Nothing from the XY Radiant collection matches up to full art Reshiram and full art Emolga. Just absolutely beautiful cards. Love those cards. We have a lot of one-offs coming up, so beware for that. A lot of 1 to 3 cards. Gold Energy. This is Gold Basic Energy from Sword and Shield. I'm not a big fan of these. They're just okay. And Gold Energy from Sun and Moon I like even less. I wouldn't play these in a deck even because they're just not that pretty. Elf Lithograph. These are alright. We'll put them in B tier. They're kind of cool if you get them all and you put them together, but separately they're kind of oh, this is weird. That's an unexpected pull. Next up we have the Secret Rares from Black and White Noble Victories. These are just kind of okay. I'll put them in C tier. I don't love them. They're just these stamped Pikachu and Meowth from the first 2 sets of, or the first 3 sets. Technically in Japan it was the first 2 sets of the Black and White era. They did these not Unova Pokemon stamped. Nice artwork on them, but I don't really feel that strongly about them. We have full arts from Black and White. These cards are just absolutely great. Artwork-wise, they're a little bit lacking. Do I give them the above? I'm so nostalgic. I'm going to give them the S. You could give them A and I could be happy, but they're just really imposing and strong looking. Like I said, 5-band graphics actually do some good stuff. Unlike nowadays where they just do bad stuff, but they used to actually do good stuff, right? That's one of them. Getting down there, Secret Rares from Platinum. These are the 3 legendary birds, and they're just gorgeous looking cards. Wonderful looking cards, man. I own the 3 of these in Japanese, and they're not that good, but in English, they're gorgeous. We have the Unknown subset from Phantom Forces. They're okay looking, but I'd be super pissed. I didn't open up much Unseen Forces. It was never my favorite set. We'll just put that in C, because I know a lot of people who did open up Unseen Forces though, and they tell the horror stories of pulling all the unknowns, which is not great. This Kyurem from Dragon Vault, this is a D tier. I never really get why this card existed. Dragon Volt is a set you can complete in literally like 3 or 4 packs. It's 20 cards, so it gets to be like 4 to 5 packs, right? And this Kyurem is just like this one card that you open up like 50 packs for in a set where you're done immediately. Like, Dragon Volt is a set you like complete immediately. It's a cool set, but man, that secret rare is just out of place. Didn't need to exist. Next up, we have the secret rare reprints from Stormfront. It has the original Charizard line redrawn. These are really cool, but I can't give them S tier. I know a lot of people don't like this artwork of Charizard. I prefer it to the original one. I don't like the original Charizard, so honestly, I'd prefer to just get a new one, but it is still pretty cool. Secret rare Pokemon from Black and White. Oh man, these are good. Definitely up there in A. I can't give them S though either because their artwork is just really lacking. Like, they're really cool collector cards. But I will say that the first few sets of them, up until Boundaries Cross was the first set where they got the gold borders, which made the cards look a lot cooler. Gold textured borders just really found the cards. So if you have like the late Black and White ones, you're talking like S tier, like Sigilif, Golurk, just the one from the late Black and White era. But the early ones like Hydreigon, and Emboar are just like not as cool, but they are really cool. I guess if you're playing them as cards in decks, they are pretty cool, I guess, in that regard. Yeah, I'm just gonna give them S tier. You know, screw it. I'm gonna get my full Black and White nostalgia out right here. Let's give those both S tier. Dark Raichu from Team Rocket, secret rare. It's the first secret rare, but it doesn't really do much. It's a good artwork, but not much else going for it. Secret rare from Rising Rivals. There was 3 Pikachu, Flying Pikachu, and Surfing Pikachu from Rising Rivals. They're just alright. Same with the Platinum ones. They're just reprints of the Haymaker trio, Hitmonchan, Electabuzz, and Scyther. I'd like to make a deck out of them someday, because I think that'd be hilarious to make like a full Haymaker deck with Secret Rares reprints, but maybe until that day, they're going to stay B tier. Next up, we have Secret Rare from Mysterious Treasures. This is just this one Secret Rare, Time Space Distortion. I'm biased because I pulled it, but this is just an absolutely beautiful card. Just gorgeous. One of the best looking trainer cards ever printed. Secret Rare trainers are like kind of a thing that didn't exist back then, so it was really, really cool. And it's like got 3 Pokemon on it. It's all hollow foil borders, just beautiful. Next up, we have SH. These again are like S tier. Black and White, Diamond and Pearl like nailed the collection factor for me as a kid, and I know I'm biased because like as a collector, I was a kid collector, right? So like these SH cards for me are like, I loved them because they're just really cool looking, but they have really great artwork on the SH. They're like reverse hollow, so you might not even realize it's a shiny Pokemon if you don't look close enough, which is kind of funny. And a lot of them even had like 3 attributes, so even for like the gameplay purposes, they are cool, but that's not what we're rating them on. Next up, we have Gold Stars. We're going to give Gold Stars S. Possibly the most collectible one on this whole list. Like, I've never met someone who doesn't like Gold Stars besides, I think, Saturnine Bear. I think he's the only one I know that doesn't like Gold Stars. That was just because they're expensive. And that none of them are drawn by Arita. They're all drawn by Mazukaza Fukuda. So he's not the biggest fan of them, but I've never met anyone else who dislikes Gold Stars. He's the one in a million, certainly, in that regard. Shout out to him if he's watching. I don't think he does watch my videos, but I appreciate you watching if you are. Thank you for sticking with me. But yeah, Gold Stars are just absolutely, like, one of my favorite cards. My favorite card of all time, rather. Celebi Gold Star. You know, as a collector, Gold Stars are just the peak of collecting. There is nothing higher. And next up we have these two. I saved these two because I want to talk about them. Shining Vault from Hidden Fates was absolutely great. I was playing the game at that time, so getting cards that were both pretty, collectible, cheap, and playable in my deck, just, it hits all of the benchmarks. These are absolute home run, just S tier. Like, especially the Eevee, I never got to own that one, sadly, but so much of the playable cards, or so much of the set is like playable cards that are also cool Pokemon. You see things like the Eevees, you see things like the, I guess, Charmander family for people who like those. You see, you know, Froakie for the Greninja line. You see, trying to think of other ones on the spot, Zoruas, like all of these cool Pokemon. I'm trying to think of other ones, but honestly I can't. Malamar, like so many cool Pokemon. Routes and Curlia, right? Like, That's what made this good, and that's what makes this bad, is because Shiny Vault only had like 3 non-Galarian Pokemon. The Galarian Pokemon are really hit or miss. Even among the set, they chose the wrong versions of cards, so as a player, I was extremely disappointed. Like, they picked the bad Grookey, the bad Sobble, and the bad Scorbunny, so you couldn't even play with these cards. Most of them weren't playable at all. They were just Galarian Pokemon, and I don't like most of the Galarian Pokemon. I'm going to be real with you. There's like 10 of them that I like, and the rest of them are like D and F tier Pokemon. Like, the Galarian Dex is really weak, so these honestly failed F tier. They also look worse. They have worse texturing. The only redeeming factor is like the few Pokemon I like Alcremie, but as a playability, Alcremie and Zigzagoon are like the only ones I like. The rest of them, no, the rest of them could just go away. I just don't like them. This is my tier list here. Obviously, like, the top is like gonna be all of the things from my childhood, as well as things with really, really good art, and the bottom is Rainbow Rares. Rainbow Rares, rest in peace. Rest in pieces. We will not miss you. You will not be loved or remembered. You will be forgotten quickly and die a slow and painful death on the store shelves and on binder sales, in which people will never purchase these because they're awful. Maybe that's a bit spiteful. Rainbow Rares are awful. I never want to see them again. I never want to pull one again. Glad to be done with them. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tier list, go try it out yourself. In the description down below, you can try out this tier list yourself. That's about all I got to say, and I will see you in the next one.